I'm Kiera Morgan. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Coffee with Kiera, sponsored by the Human Bean in Newport and Lincoln City. And today I'm excited to be here in Sieltz at the Sieltz Valley Rural Fire Protection District Station with Fire Chief Dave Lapoff and Captain Daniel. Just going to say Daniel.
Morford.
Morford, there we go. So happy to be here and excited to share with everyone about what you guys do. You're such an important part of not only the Sieltz community, but also the fire departments and the collaboration that you have with the other departments and things, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, let's hear a little bit more about my guest. Chief, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
As you mentioned, I'm the fire chief of Sieltz Fire District. I've been in the fire service, I think we just calculated about 37 years. Started in a small rural agency on an island in Washington, and then was with Kaiser Fire, and then Mid-Columbia Fire as paid fire chief, and then here back in Sieltz, as we say, my second tour. I was here back in 2011 and 12 when I first met Daniel. And I get to kind of lead this organization, and now with the help of Captain Morford, we're kind of making big steps forward.
That's fantastic. What got you interested in becoming a firefighter? Was it something that you wanted to do as you were a kid?
No, actually, nobody in my family was in the fire service. On this island, I helped at a home birth, and I thought, I think I need to know more about this. And so then I took what they called first responder back then. Now it's emergency medical responder, AMR. Took that course, and then thought, well, geez, maybe I should go to the fire department. And it was a volunteer department, and so I joined, and then that went on about 7 years, and was in another agency at the same time, and then moved down to Oregon, and then joined Kaiser Fire District for 15 years, and then took a paid job for 8 months, 7 days, and 3 hours in Seal Rock, and then went over to here for a while, and then over to Mid-Columbia and the Dalles, and COVID, and now I'm back here.
Well, we're glad to have you back.
Yeah, well, so far it's been good. Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
And Daniel, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do as captain, and a little bit about your background and history with the fire department.
Yeah, so I have been a paid member of Sieltz Fire since January of this year. I started my fire career back in Toledo in high school as a cadet. Worked my way up through my 18 years, and then enlisted in the service. I was in the 82nd Airborne in the Army. And when I got out of that, I came back and joined as a volunteer with Sieltz Fire back in 2011 when I met Chief Lapoff. And I've been volunteering since then. And 3 years ago, I got a paid position with Toledo Fire as their maintenance officer. And then this position opened up, so I transferred back. My job here is a volunteer coordinator, so I manage the volunteers that we have, recruitment and retention, try and bring on more folks to help around, and yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the paid staff that you have. How many people are on board paid staff?
Looking at it right now.
Oh my goodness.
we have a part-time office person. She puts in about 8 to 10 hours a week. But yeah, Daniel and I are the only two paid firefighter type people, and then we have our volunteers. So we are by far the smallest agency in the county.
Well, looks like volunteers are a crucial part of the department, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. What does someone need to do to volunteer? Does it take a ton of time? Are they always on call? How does that work?
So volunteering with us, no experience is necessary. We offer and provide the training for EMS, fire, special technical rescues, such as vehicle electrification or rope rescue. And then basically, being a volunteer, we do ask that, you hit a minimum of, several calls a month, but it's when you're available that we love to have you. And then we train Wednesday nights once a week for 2 hours. So basically no experience is needed. Just come check us out, and we'll love to get you in, have you sit in on a couple drills and see what it's like and see if it's for you.
So can someone come out and like observe some of the drills if they're thinking about doing it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We welcome anybody to come serve what we do, and hopefully they get the interest to come and help us out.
We try to have them come. Usually the first Wednesday of every month is our volunteer association meeting, and so the volunteers take care of the business that they need to do, whether it's community events or they're going to do a project like their haunted house this fall. Don't forget that.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, and so we try to invite new people to come to that first. That way they get to meet everybody in a more relaxed atmosphere. And then when they go out to drills, because they don't really have their equipment issued, they're kind of more in an observing capacity. And so that becomes hard for some people. Sometimes we put them in some kind of equipment just so they don't feel totally alienated from everybody else, but we don't let them get too involved in stuff. After about 6 months, we offer a number of benefits to our volunteers, whether it's a retirement program, reimbursement for coming to calls for missing meals and mileage. We have an extensive life insurance policy. We offer tuition for school if they want to go to anything they want, whether they want to go to auto mechanics or they want to start taking prerequisites for teaching. They can use that tuition money for that. Clothing and equipment is paid for, as Captain Morford said. I don't know, and any other ideas they come up with, we're probably willing to support, because all those types of extra benefits or additives are significantly less than trying to hire one person.
And does someone have to live in Sieltz in order to volunteer, or do you take volunteers from anywhere?
Yeah, Captain Morford, do they have to live in Sieltz?
No, they do not have to live in Sieltz. We are building an out-of-district program for certain individuals that are out. But we encourage anybody who's in their area to first check their local fire department and see if they're looking for people. But if they live out of district and they want to come here, then we are building our program. But right now, it's about we require about 24 hours of standby time, so they would come here one 8-hour day per week or something to help around the station, help call on calls and that kind of thing, and then continue the Wednesday night trainings. So
it's much better if they're in the community, because they're part of the community and they know everybody. Because sometimes if they're living out of the area, it's harder for them to come in and be motivated. But the couple that we do have right now seem pretty motivated and pretty near off quite often. So we're going to kind of keep growing that program.
And let's talk a little bit about, I know that with military, such as the National Guard, employers support if the person needs to leave their job. Is it the same way with the volunteer fire department?
So we actually, when I was past president of the Oregon Volunteer Firefighter Association back in '99 and 2000, I believe it was, we actually worked with a couple of legislators in Salem to try to create a legislation that actually did that, would let employers leave people to go to work. But it wasn't negative pushback. It was the reality pushback that so many small businesses can't let somebody leave their workplace because they only have 2 employees. And so that would just be too much of a hardship on them. Most employers, we found that if we write a letter to the employer and say, would you let this person leave if we have a big event? Not for every medical call, but for big fires or big traffic accidents. Most employers have been really receptive to that. As long as there's clear communication that they're not going to just leave work every time there's a call.
Just drop the phone, I'm out.
Well, and that has happened in the past in other agencies, and so that's why there's that hesitancy. So there just needs to be good communication. But there is nothing like the National Guard model. I've worked with some legislators thinking maybe we could create a model like that for volunteerism, and talked to the National Volunteer Fire Council about that. And they have tried floating that idea, but nobody seems to want to take that challenge on. It's a big ask.
And let's talk a little bit about fire safety as we are undoubtedly heading into fire season. How are things looking? We've had some pretty bad droughts the last couple of years, and it seems like our summers here in Lincoln County have been pretty dry. We go through a big dry spell. How are things looking? How's the forecast for our summer here in Lincoln County?
Well, fire service is always good about the sky is falling and the world is going to come to an end. And we like it when it's rain falling. In fact, we just received an email today from Oregon Department of Forestry, our local unit in Toledo, that wanted to have a conversation with the county fire chiefs about creating the burn ban sooner than later. They just had a backyard burn where people burned debris, and it got out and started a bit of a fire. I think that was more in a wildland area where they were burning slash. But even with the rain we had, I don't know, a month ago, the torrential downpour, the ground was still dry. It just gets absorbed until it starts flood stage almost. So, and we know over in Central Oregon where they've had record snowfall, it's still the ground is not saturated. So, and every year we always hear, oh, this is going to be the worst fire season ever. And I go, well, how do you determine the worst until you actually have the worst?
Right.
Everyone's bad.
Right.
And it seems to be getting worse as time goes on, but it's the worst fire season. So it's a big deal. I would say the community of Sieltz is actually really educated. When it's dry for a day or two, we don't get any phone calls about backyard burning permits. But as soon as there's like a little bit of drizzle like today, the phone starts ringing off the hook. It's like, oh, I need a burn permit, it's raining. Well, I wouldn't really call this sprinkled rain. But if
it's wet.
they're all pretty aware and they police each other.
That's good.
Really significantly, like, guys, just calm down. But they will call on their neighbors in a heart. They're burning today. Well, they can't. Well, they should be. So we
keep an eye on it. If it gets out of control, then give us a call back.
Yeah, well, almost before it gets out of control, but yeah. And sometimes we'll just drive out there and just wave the flag and say, hey, we just want to remind you to burn safe. And, oh yeah, no, we got 100 square miles big.
Well, we had the ice storm, of course, in January. Yes, okay. And of course, that created a lot of debris down, specifically a lot of trees. And I think people are still kind of dealing with some of that cleanup. Is that an issue as we head into that dry season?
Well, it did create a lot of windfall and broken dry trees that were already dry because no sap was running in the winter. And when they did clear the roads, it just threw it all right there in the woods and hung away. And we've had a lot of phone calls from concerned citizens going, there's all this down wood, timber, whatever you want to call it, in the ditches and right off the road, and is that a fire hazard? And well, it's really no more of a hot fire hazard than normal, but yeah, it's going to add more fuel to the fire that'll burn quicker. So, it's really hard to say what that will look like. Once you get deep in the woods, there's a lot of trees that are down that nobody's seen, and that will cause a problem. And we'll just treat it like another fire. That's what we have to do. Rely on Oregon Department of Forestry.
Well, I think we're kind of fortunate a little bit here on the coast that versus Central Oregon and Eastern Oregon that we don't have the lightning strikes that seem to cause a lot of those fires. But there still needs to be some abundance of caution, right?
Yeah. And I was, having been in Depot Bay and then Kaiser and Washington, I was never much into wildland firefighting until I went to the Dalles for 4 years. And every day was a relatively good-sized brush fire, grass fire, and for them it's just it's another fire over here. Everybody be jumping up and go, we got to put it out. And those guys, it's only 10 acres, no worries.
Yikes!
And so I learned a lot in a very short time on how to kind of put wildland fires in a little bit of perspective. So, but yeah, climate, even here at Sieltz, when you get past about 4 miles out of town at the Twin Bridges mark, the humidity changes about 6%. So it's much drier just the other side of our fire district than it is here.
Well, we're very fortunate to have someone with your depth of experience.
I wouldn't use that word, but I appreciate it.
Here, that's really important. What are some ways that folks can help to protect their property? There's a lot of information out there right now, and I think Oregon Department of Forestry is doing some work to educate folks about keeping their properties safe. and having defensible space?
Yeah, so we actually have a program that we're working on. We invite people to all the open houses that we have to. We put it out in our newsletter that if they want us to come out and do basically an investigation of their property to see for defensible space, and then there's a program that works that'll go out and actually help clean up some of that to make it more of a defensible space in our area. So we're working hand in hand with a couple individuals that have been out there doing the inspections on these houses and telling homeowners, you know, the goods, the bads, and of their residences. So yeah, we're working to clean up quite a bit of homes around the area.
So when we talk about defensible space, for those who don't know, can you explain that's not putting up a wall around your house, the cement block that, you know, is going to...
Right, so there's the immediate defensible space. And basically, it's to pull all the limbs and brush back from your home. So you don't have shrubbery touching your home, and hopefully you don't have any within 6 feet of it if you can help it. If there's big trees and their limbs are hanging over. So we kind of do measurements. We want everything back about 25 feet and up 15 feet high, and nothing hanging over the roof of your house. It's like cleaning the gutter, making sure the roof doesn't have needles on it, making sure that any combustibles that maybe some people have put walkways around their homes with beauty bark or bark dust, and we go, well, that's really a bad idea. It should be gravel or rock, something's not combustible. And so that's the defensible space piece of it. Try to keep a lawn if you can, or we have one person who lives out in the eastern part of the district, and they have concrete, about 25 feet of concrete all the way around their house. They're the kind of poster child for defensible space, if you will. We don't expect people to do that. But, you know, even just...
You just paint the concrete green and you're good,
I have been
right?
advocating for that for a long time. But, you know, even if you have a lawn and you keep it watered a little bit, it doesn't have much green, but just so it's not brown and full of weeds, keep everything cut back. We were, what Martha was talking about is we recipients of a significant grant from the Oregon State Fire Marshal's office. And they convinced the legislature that it's better to do some prevention on wildfires than to have to spend billions of dollars putting them out. And they believed that and said, okay. And so we received almost $100,000 just for that project. In fact, we're going to go out and meet with one of the tree trimmers today to kind of go through some sites this afternoon. And so that's a good program, and it's free. If people want to do it, we'll come out and survey the home, like it says, and then connect you with the tree trimmer, and we'll oversee all that. So all you have to do is call the fire station. We'll get it set up.
That's fantastic. And like you said, it's free, which is amazing for homeowners that, you know, they have that resource available. Let's also talk a little bit about the importance of having a smoke alarm. And what about a carbon monoxide alarm? Is that important as well?
Yeah. In fact, Kevin Marford just installed some smoke detectors.
Yeah,
last week, I think, it was smoke detector week, it seems.
We also have a program that we, American Red Cross, that they send us smoke alarms when we go out for people who call in who haven't checked them or are needing replacements, and we will go out, we'll inspect the ones they have. If they're not working or they're too old, we'll replace them with brand new ones, tamper-proof ones. And again, that's a free thing that we provide, and they just gotta call in, sign up, and then we try to get to them as quickly as possible. CO2 alarms are also important. We have those as well to supply to people that aren't able to, or so yeah.
So we used to have the program, set your clock back, check your alarm. Now everything seems to be more digital.
Well, you'd still check your alarm. So it used to be change your clock, change your battery.
That was it.
But now Oregon actually has for almost the last 9-10 years, and now it's a national requirement, a 10-year battery, a 10-year tamper-proof battery with a hush feature. So you can't take the battery out. The battery lasts 10 years as does the detector. So at 10 years, you dispose of both of those and install a new one. And the hush feature is a button so it stops, so it silence the alarm so people don't want to rip the battery out and put it in their Nintendo or game box or whatever.
Yeah, don't place your smoke alarm, I learned, over your stove.
Well, so you want to think about where they are, because it's not uncommon that about 6:37 in the morning we get a lot of smoke alarm activations because the smoke detector is just outside the bathroom door.
Oh,
People open up the bathroom door and all the steam hits. So the location of smoke detectors is really critical. In some large homes where they have really tall ceilings, the contractor, where they had all the scaffolding, put a smoke detector about 20 feet up. And there's no way anybody could reach those. We have a ladder that almost will get to most of them, but that's the homeowner can't even get up there. So they sit there with brooms and sticks trying to knock them off the ceiling. So it, you want them up high so the early smoke detection, but you want them functional so you can reach them. So we tell people let's reposition this one, put it here so you don't get false activations. A lot of homes have hardwired smoke detectors, and we don't replace those. So you have to either do it yourself or have an electrician come in. So we get a lot of people going, well, it's going off, and finally we kind of walk through the steps and go, is it a hardwired detector? So that becomes a problem. Carbon monoxide detector is pretty important, especially with so much wood heat. And then during the severe weather, people thought they should just bring a propane heater inside the house. Forget to open up windows and things. So we didn't have any injuries from that, but there's certainly the potential for that. So you really should have at least one carbon monoxide detector.
Wow, that's really, really important. Where's the best location for the fire alarms?
Yeah, at Morford, what is the best location?
You didn't know you were going to be tested, did you?
Yeah, it's always a question. We'll draw pictures. He drew a picture last week and said, well, so this is where do you think this should go? Man, it is hard sometimes.
I mean, there's a different school of thought. So if you have the ability to have them like in all the bedrooms, that's good. But if you can't, then at least one in the hallway. That'll be the closest to where a fire may start in order to notify the bedrooms in that hallway. Definitely one near or right outside of your kitchen, because most fires, kitchen fires and stuff, so that you'll get that early detection from that as well. But we encourage at least one in the hallway outside the bedrooms and one near the kitchen.
Yeah, my trouble with the ones in the kitchen is I tend to like toast burnt, and that tends to activate smoke alarms very quickly.
You mean the smoke alarm isn't the dinner bell? I've been told that.
Well, that's right. There is that. If the alarm's not going off, it's not being cooked. So everybody thinks they have to be in the ceiling, but actually, building code says within 2 feet of the ceiling. So if you put it on a sidewalk and hold it down about 2 feet, that way you can get that layer of burnt toast smoke up there, but still not activate the alarm. So we just, but again, it's like we try to look for best positions that the homeowner can hit the hush feature, but also will activate soon enough so that they have time to exit the home.
And how important is it for families or anyone to have kind of a plan for evacuation, an emergency plan? Do you still work with schools and stuff to do those kinds of things?
We do. Usually we go to the daycare and child care centers, or they'll come here and then we'll do stuff with the really small elementary kids, the first, second, third graders. And we certainly hand out the book and we say, go home and talk to your folks about the exit plan, where you're going to meet. And for older kids and adults, we talk about have a conversation and discuss where you're going to meet. Is it going to be a tree? Is it going to be the neighbor's yard? What's going to be the location? We don't expect adults and seniors in high school to draw a picture of. We're going to go out this path. Just exit the structure as quick as you can safely. Do not go back in and meet in a certain area. So, but yeah, that's that part of public education has been there as long as I can remember when I was a child. So practice your exit drill. So, yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about your coordination and working together with other entities. You work well with some of the other fire departments, with Lincoln County Emergency Management, isn't that right?
Yeah, we snagged Daniel back from Toledo, and we used to have an excellent working relationship.
No, till you started stealing their people.
Yeah, no. Once we kind of knew that we were going to offer the position, I met with the fire chief, Chief Robertson over there, and explained it, and he totally understood. And he said, "Well, I knew he was going to come back and go up, move up at some point. I just think it was going to happen so soon." But it was that was a grant that we got to hire Daniel, and so now we're working on how to convert that to full time. Yeah, I'd say we work phenomenally. Daniel's the co-lead for the Lincoln County Technical Rescue Team. So
awesome.
He works with all agencies and in and out of the county, and
we work really well with Toledo. I mean, mutual aid quite often, especially on larger events, fires, car crashes, those kind of things. We're all both mainly volunteer organizations, so depending on the time of the day, we might have people, they might not, so we work with them, vice versa. And then even Newport gets something big, Toledo gets called over there, we might backfill Toledo to help them out when they're off helping their neighbors. So and then we have 229 that links up with North Lincoln, and we work in that area together as well. So I think I think we work pretty good together. So
this last summer, 2023, there was a conflagration where they had to mobilize different resources. And so there's the fire down by Roseburg. Do you remember the name of it?
The Tyee Ridge Fire.
Tyee Ridge Fire. And so we have a tender, which is an apparatus that carries water, and Daniel was working for Toledo, and so he took our tender. He was with Toledo, took our vehicle, and another Toledo volunteer at the time, and went down to the fire. And so that's perfect. That's department integration at its best. So he still has Toledo's tones inside his pager, so also his pager go off, and I go, "That's not our tone, no, it's Toledo." And he says, or he's listening to the radio going, "That Toledo's getting a big motor vehicle." And so it's like, we have to figure out staffing, and one of us, well, he always goes, and it depends whether I go or not. And it's been critical to them as well as it does to us when we need them to come over. A couple of their captains are always listening to the radio. They're in our paging system, so it's almost, we're trying to make it invisible between the two agencies. So you can call us Toledo if you want it.
I like that.
It's the future.
And let's talk a little bit about this fun event that you have coming up.
What was that date again?
June 8th.
That's right.
It's a Saturday.
June 8th is a Saturday. It will be the Sieltz open house. Basically, we're going to have demonstrations. We'll have vehicle electrification demonstration. Members from the county rope team or technical rescue team will be here, putting up a display, maybe doing a demonstration. Different organizations from all over the area, Sheriff's Office, Life Flight, PWA, and basically it just brings people in, gives them information, and hopefully, we get a couple volunteers out of it that are interested in joining up with us, and if not, at least we have the ability to put that information out there to educate the public. So it'll be a fun event, and I hope a lot of people come out.
Yeah, lots of information. State Fire Marshal will be there, Oregon Department of Forestry, Lincoln County Sheriff's Office Marine Patrol will be there, Samaritan Hospital will be handing out bicycle helmets, and just today I did a presentation, kind of a first aid class for women that are advocates for domestic violence and rape. And then the Sieltz tribe has a crisis intervention staff, and so I invited them. So they're going to be here sharing information. So it's really more, it's as much as it's showing off the fire district and all that, it's actually a way for people to get different resources and get information about public safety across the board.
And we'll be here as well, doing some video and interviews with various folks like yourselves, and showing off a little bit about what Sieltz Fire has to offer, and the county.
Look forward to it.
All right. Is there anything else, Daniel, that you would like to add as we're wrapping up?
I would just like to say thank you for the opportunity to have this interview, to get our information out there to more people. You know, we're trying to broaden our reach, how to hit the different individuals. We do a lot of paper, but are just branching off and developing our social media networking. So
I heard you got a really good social media manager.
we do. And if you're watching this and you're interested in medical, fire, or technical rescue, come on down, check us out, and we'd love to have you.
Wonderful. Chief, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think Daniel hit most of it. You know, I mean, we try to do as much for the community as we can, and we try to foster a really good working relationship with the Confederate Tribe of Sieltz Indians. So we offer a lot of community CPR and first aid classes. We do whatever we can, like fire extinguisher training if they don't already have that. And we're, as Daniel said, we're looking for volunteers, and we actually are talking to one woman who doesn't want to do physical firefighting or EMS, but is willing to do data entry. And we're looking at a new computer program, and it will require extensive importing of files, and she seems to be all about that. So we're pretty excited. So if you're interested, you can call the fire station, 541-444-2043, or find us at selectsfire.com anytime.
That's fantastic. So something for everyone. And if you need help with your smoke alarms, defensible space, you have general questions regarding burning, you can also contact the fire station here as well. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here on our interview on Coffee with Kiera. We appreciate it. We are sponsored by The Human Bean in Newport at 6th Street, Highway 101, in Lincoln City at the north end of the highway on the west side, next to TLC Credit Union. And I want to remind that if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe, ring the bell. We'll give you some notifications when our next video comes out. Reporting from Sieltz for Coffee with Kiera, I'm Kiera Morgan.